are going to flood the zone. That's what Tom Homan said the other day about taking this battle, taking this war for not only America's soul, but our sovereignty back to the cities that have decided to war against this for the last 15 years, it feels like. Over the weekend in New York City, one of these havens of illegals, one of these locations where one of these cities where the city councils and the mayors and the legislatures, not only for the cities but the states, have decided for the last, it feels like 15 years, that they are going to be a safe haven for criminals. And it's not like they're sitting there saying, "Oh, you jaywalked. Okay. Well, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't pay the $20 fine or the $150 fine." No. These are people who have illegally entered our country, who have destroyed our sovereignty. When the borders of a nation mean nothing, when the borders of a nation are open and continually dismissed, then there is no rule of law. And of course, that's what we see in LA and New York City and Minneapolis and Chicago. We've seen these problems all over this country in what should be jewels of this country, which should be our crowning achievements, massive skyscrapers showing how great of a nation we are. And yet they're filled with illegal immigrants, people who don't obey the rule of law, people who don't care. See, this all goes back to the broken windows theory. When you decide that these crimes are not worth prosecuting or policing, you tell everyone else that they can ignore the rule of law. Whether it's smoking marijuana on the side of the street in a state where it is illegal, or saying, nah, if you're illegal, you can come live in our city and we will never tell the federal government you're here. We will never let ICE arrest you. We will never let you be accountable for your actions. That's what they tell these people. So over the weekend, an ICE agent or a CBP agent was shot, and I believe is still in critical condition in New York City. Because of this, Tom Homan held a press conference in which he said that they were going to flood the zone, that they were going to be ramping up ICE and CBP operations in Democratic ran cities. And you hear that and you're like, oh, you're just targeting Democrats. The problem is that that's not who you're targeting. You're targeting the perpetrators of these crimes. You're targeting the cities that have allowed illegal immigration to run amok and get out of control. It just so happens that those are all Democratic ran cities, mostly in Democratic ran states. Columbia, South Carolina is a Democratic ran city and has been for, as far as I can remember, at least 15 to 20 years. Yet it resides in a Republican stronghold of a state. We do not put up with that shit. And while there are areas of Columbia that are not ideal and great and awesome, there's nowhere in this city that I walk down or drive around and feel like I cannot be there because of what I look like. And that's what you see in a lot of these other cities. You see areas where the rule of law is just completely disregarded. They don't care. They deal drugs out in the open, notoriously. Police are afraid to go. And remember, in Portland and New York City, in Boston, we saw these anti-capitalist zones pop up. Chad, Cheese, a bunch of weird names. Just say, you know what? We are against the police. No rule of law here. Anti-capitalism. Complete tomfoolery. Complete BSness. So I'm glad to see Tom Homan standing up for his men. I'm glad to see Tom Homan not only standing up for his men, but standing up for the rest of the country, standing up for the 77 million people that voted for Donald Trump, and standing up for the 77 million people that voted for Donald Trump and voted for this. I'm so sick and tired of calling a service and having to press 1 for English. And I'll end on a story. And before I tell the story, I want to say thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does help the channel. And leave a comment below on what your thoughts are about this. So my story is this. The other day, we sold a house. We did a closing for a house. And we had 2 Hispanic people come in to buy the house. Nothing wrong. But you live in this country, you can buy a house. You legally in this country, you can buy a house. That's great. The problem is, the woman had been here for, I think it was like 5 years. The man had been here for like 6, and none of them spoke English. They spoke a little bit, like, they spoke the amount of English that I speak Spanish. But how do you live in this country for 5+ years and do not speak English? I understand maybe not being able to speak English to the point that you can engage in like a legal discussion, but it's not that what we talk about isn't that complicated. It's like, here's what your monthly payment is. This is what taxes are. Like, I shouldn't have to ever have someone translate that. Because if you're here and legally being able to buy a house, you should be able to speak a certain amount of English. Everyone, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see y'all next time.